What happens to those people? They have been given a purpose.
This is a movie where, first off, I was noticing right away, I love how, I mean, there are so many movies that, kind of play with genre, and they want to thumb it at the audience, like, see where we're kind of playing around here. But you don't play around. You take everything seriously, and the premise seriously, and because of that, I think the movie works even better than if somebody's like nudging or winking at the audience. Talk about the process on coming up with a story like that.
Yeah, look, I think we wanted to really throw the audience in from the get-go. We start off with this Operation Overlord on D-Day, and we're with these paratroopers as they're all like terrified of what's going to be happening to them, and they literally get dropped into hell. And it was that trying to create characters that we can follow and love and get behind, and three-dimensional, make them three-dimensional, like make the villains three-dimensional, make them real and believable. And because JJ always talks about leaning in, and how do you get the audience to lean in. And for me, it's about like investing in the characters, and I think that's the only reason you care in the third act when all hell breaks loose. You care that this guy's going to get killed. Like, you care that the hero is going to win, and for me it was like always a balancing act between getting the emotion and the action right, and the horror and the sci-fi.
Yeah, I have to say your villain is great.
Thank you.
You had a lot of fun watching you. I want to ask you a couple questions. Where do you find motivation in playing really fun villains like that? And second, that face makeup was gnarly, dude. I loved it.
Yeah, the makeup department on this film were incredible. And we would still be working on it, while we were shooting. Julius would come up and still being like, no, I need the nose to be more like that, and I need a bigger wound, and I need more blood dripping down. And so it was an ongoing process. Why is it fun doing villains? Because you can be yourself.
Yep. That's right.
No, of course I'm not a Nazi. But I kind of like villains, and as a foreigner in American films, you have a tendency to be cast as the villain because of my accent. But I like it. I think it's more fun. The anti-hero is always more interesting than the real hero, I've always enjoyed it in films. I always identify with the guys who were misunderstood. And that's the reason why I love doing it. And I think you can see the collaboration we had, not only you and me, but the collaboration within the team, within the ensemble, that it works. Everyone has their moment. And that meant that everyone invested everything. And I really like that.
I loved how JJ Abrams is kind of, in a weird way, kind of becoming the Rod Serling of genre.
Yeah.
Because I mean, with Cloverfield and Overlord, he seems to be bringing filmmakers like yourself, and who are, new to the scene, but they're getting to play with this big sandbox.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you about how that was working with him.
Yeah, look, the great thing about Bad Robot and JJ, is they do things outside of the box, and when you walk into a Bad Robot film, expect the unexpected. And they like to, the JJ loves to see how far you can, go down the rabbit hole. But one of the things that, he, really loves to set up is really strong characters that you want to follow down this rabbit hole. And he really loves to workshop the script, and even in the post, we were always workshopping scenes, and he never lets anything go until it's right. And it can be really challenging at times because he's a perfectionist, but I learn a lot from that. He's a really good guy to work with.
There's a very interesting experience. I've done a couple of films now, so I have a little bit of experience. And JJ being the producer of the film, not the director, there's a big difference. I've actually seen producers interfering much, much more in directing than JJ did in this film.
Yeah, I mean, he got right behind me. I did things in this movie which were a lot of people would saying that's crazy, you shouldn't be doing it. Like the opening wonder in the film, which is a crazy, aerial battle sequence, everyone thought was just, it's just a really tricky thing to try and pull off. And JJ said, go for it, man. And he was like that support. Like he would just, if we needed him to just, as a filmmaker, he gets it. He understands that, that you need to push. You need to try and find new ways. And it's always going to be hard for people to sort of, who isn't a director themselves, to understand that.
I even love it down to the font of the credits, where it feels like it's almost a propaganda film from World War II directly. I love that. Thank you very much.
You're welcome,
Thank
Alan.
you so much, man.
Thank you.
How do you feel? I feel really good. Holy Christ.